Hello, hello. Welcome to the Six Figure Influencer Potty. I'm so excited that you are here hanging out with me for a little bit today. Today, we're going to talk about outsourcing and all of the little things that I invest in, or we as a family invest in, but it's all me pushing it. But all the things that we invest in personally and business wise to buy back our most precious resource, which is time. So let's just go ahead and get into it. We don't need a small talk, do we? Y'all came here for a reason. I'm going to give you the goods. So some of these things are outsourcing. Some of these things are more indulgent, just saving time. Like I'm a big fan of mobile services, which we're going to talk about too. So they can all kind of be defined in different ways, but all of these things I'm going to be sharing with you are, again, the things that I love paying for and investing in because it means that I get to focus on something that I actually want to focus on, whether that be creating something for you, pouring into my clients, or spending time with my friends and family and child and the people that I want to be spending time with, right? Versus cleaning a house. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's see, how did I organize these? First, we're going to start with the personal and then we'll go into business. I think I did an episode a long time ago on this, and it's just funny because this list has grown so much. I remember the first time that we hired housekeepers, which that's the very first thing on my list, and I put that first on the list because it was the very first thing that I consider an investment in my business. Like the very first thing that I consider was me investing in my business, because the reason why we hired house cleaners the very first time was because this was when I first started my business, this part of my business. I was a new mom. Chris had a different job, so he was traveling a lot and commuting, and everything, like there was just a lot on me, especially when it came to home life. And I was at a breaking point. I pretty much had a mental breakdown and something had to give. And I decided that I was ready to hand off the house cleaning. So it's just funny because thinking back, that was it felt like such a scary decision because whenever you're not bringing in the level of income and revenue that, of course, you desire to, or that you think you should be making before making what some people would consider indulgent investments like housekeeping, it's nerve-wracking, right? Before you get to that point, it's like, oh, I shouldn't do this. I should wait until I'm hitting this level before I can invest. But what I was experiencing, which I'm sure some of you are experiencing this in real time, what I was experiencing was I'm never going to get to that level at this pace. Like at this pace, I'll never get there because I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I don't have the vibe. Like I'm miserable trying to do it all right now. And yeah, there was no way. So for me, it looked like taking a little bit of a risk and hiring housekeepers before Chris thought we should, before I even really was sold on that we should. And I ended up making it right back in my business. And we have never looked back. And then, it started with that one thing. And I would say probably around that time, well, it wasn't around that time, but shortly after, the next thing that I invested in my business besides a coach, which I don't talk about coaching in this podcast because I just talked about it a few podcasts back. But besides investing in a coach way before I was ready, probably, but it all worked out, was investing in my podcast editors, Kate and Philip, and they're on this list too. But like this list started with those two things. And then now I'm looking at it and there's, gosh, at least 20 things on this list. So anyway, let's go. We're starting with the personal list. Number 1, house cleaners. So I guess the first time we hired house cleaners was 2018 because I was a mom. And we literally started with like the monthly deep clean, right? Where they came in, they cleaned and made everything immaculate. And then we would wait a full month until they came back. And then that didn't last long because then I turned into a mad woman, like a tyrant in the house because I didn't want anybody to mess anything up until the house cleaners came back. And you can imagine how that went with an infant and a husband who doesn't care as much about a clean house as I do personally. So we went from monthly cleanings to bi-weekly. And then I went from bi-weekly to 2 times a week. So we went from 2 times a month to 2 times a week, which is where we are now. So now we have, I call them my angels. They come to the house Tuesdays and Fridays. They make everything gorgeous and that just works for us. And it's one of the best investments that I can make and pay for every single week. I smile every time I send them money because it just brings me a lot of peace and it makes me happy. And as I record this, it's Friday, end of the week. It's been a long week, a lot going on personally in our family, which I'll share about soon. And the house is spotless, right? So after I record this, I get to go downstairs and I don't have to worry about straightening up, right? Like my personality is like, before I can relax, I need my environment to be, I don't know, like it's definitely a personal problem, but that's just how I am. So I get to go downstairs to a beautiful house and hang out with Chris and Cruz and have a glass of wine. And that's just the freaking best. So housekeepers twice a week, freaking amazing. And then next thing on the list is nanny. I put our nanny on here because that's another thing that saves us time and allows us to be present in our businesses and Chris's job so that obviously we're making money and then we can be present with Cruz at the end of the day and on the weekends and all of that. So we have a nanny that comes 3 times a week and Chris and I work from home, which is amazing. So we're right there and he's happy. She is so incredibly present with him and he loves her to death. So just knowing that he's happy and well taken care of and we're right there. And then whenever she leaves, we've done what we need to do for the day and we get to move on, which is awesome. Oh, I meant to mention too, speaking of cleaning, something else that I did that got an eye roll from Chris, but I know he was happy that I did it after I did, was I also outsourced somebody to come clean our porch. So we have a back porch that just through the fall got nasty, like the end of summer, beginning of fall, when like mosquitoes and bugs are at their peak and our neighbors next door are putting in a pool. So all the dust from that, just our back porch just got nasty. And it's been on my list to do for weeks. I was going to spend like a full Saturday and clean it. And let's be honest, it was probably going to take a good 2 days. But then the weekend comes and I'm tired, or I want to go do something fun or just relax, right? I didn't want to devote a full day to cleaning up a freaking porch. So we hired some people to come, actually one amazing person to come. She left a card in our mailbox. So this wasn't like our current cleaners, but it was somebody else who asked to come clean at the house. And I was like, yeah, like I would much rather give her the business, let her come do and work in her zone of genius. So so I can chill. And she did an amazing job. So that was another thing that I did. And Chris was like, wow, okay. But when it was done in 3 hours and he and I were able to go do whatever we did that day, I know he was happy that I did that because that also got him off the hook too. So we just did that recently. Another thing that we do personally that saves a lot of time is, I don't know, this saves a little bit of time, but we order groceries once a month and all of our wine from Thrive Market, which is like a clean grocery service. And we're just on like a subscription. I know what brands we like. This is where we get like, the organic and sugar-free snacks and, the gluten-free pastas, the things that are kind of hard to find in a regular grocery store because we don't have Whole Foods or anything fancy here in Mount Juliet. So I order groceries once a month and all of our wine from Thrive Market, and that saves time and money, which is nice. Also, something that I added to this list that I've started to do, which I love, is I have a stylist. Shout out to Ashley Collins, and she's Ashley L. Collins on Instagram. But I hire her, it's on average about twice a year. And well, I've worked with her twice. So I feel like we'll probably work together about twice a year. It'll probably end up being something like that. And we get on a Zoom call and I show her Pinterest pictures that I like with the type of clothes that I would like to wear. And she goes and she sources them for me and she sends me all of the links and I get to shop all of the links just like we do with influencers on Instagram, except everything is customized to what I want to wear and the things that I sent her. So the reason why I'm doing that is because personally, I do not like to shop. We also, where we live, have no decent shopping at all. Like the nearest mall or, nice-ish boutiques are, in like Franklin, which is a good 45 minutes away. So yeah, that's something else that I do. And I feel like that saves me a lot of money because in the past, what I do is I'll, shop through influencers or I'll go onto Nordstrom and I'll buy a bunch of things that don't necessarily go together because I'm not great at putting things together. I'm not great at styling and, I'll buy things that don't really fit that great. And, maybe I'll send it back, maybe I won't. And doing this, it makes my life so much easier because she knows what she's doing. She's also about sustainability and capsule wardrobes, and she's really good at being smart with the outfits that she puts together. So they all kind of intermix, which is amazing. And that's another thing that I do to save me some time and grief. Okay, moving on to the mobile services that we do semi-regularly. That saves us a bunch of time. We get our dog groomed mobily. We have 2 dogs, Madison, Sunday, and Mattis doesn't get groomed. He's a big lab and absolutely insane. So, and he also, we rinse him off every once in a while and he's fine. But our smaller dog, Sunday, he needs to be groomed. So we have people come out every couple months and they groom him, which is great. I most recently discovered that we have mobile spray tans in the area, which is a game changer. I don't get regular spray tans for the simple fact that we have to drive across town and it's just gross, like having to get back in your car with spray tan funk, and it's just a pain. I hate doing that. But the fact that I can have somebody come to the house and in 20 minutes flat spray me down and then I'm tan and gorgeous, now you're speaking my language. So that's something that I'll probably do maybe every other week or so, or I don't know. Like now I get so pasty in the winter. So that's just another thing that I added to the list. My hair, every once in a while I get done at home, mainly well, only because my hairstylist is one of my oldest friends from high school. So she's located in Knoxville. So every once in a while I'll drive there and do it, or she'll come to me because her parents live nearby, which is really cool. So I just added that to the list. And then we also get our cars detailed via a mobile detail service, which again just saves a ton of time. Love it. Worth every penny, in my opinion. Okay. So those are the personal things that we outsource or invest in to save time and money. Some of those things, money. Sometimes it's just the time, which is totally fine. All right, moving on to business. So here are the things that I invested in with my business. I have a CPA who is also now my bookkeeper. Talk about a game changer. I don't know why anybody ever would want to do their own books or their own accounting unless you enjoy that stuff. And in that case, like, why not be an accountant? But yeah, that's one of the very first things I ever invested in. Besides the podcast, which is next on the list, my podcast since day one has always been edited and handled by the dynamic duo, Kate and Philip. They're amazing. And now Philip is also editing, and yeah, I've completely handled over my YouTube channel, which should be live any day now, I think. And I mean, they literally are just taking these recordings of the podcast. If you're listening to the podcast, you don't know this, but I also record video, and they're going to take the videos and repurpose on YouTube. So if people want to watch, they can do that too. So podcast and YouTube. I have an assistant. I've had an assistant for a couple of months now. It's one of my BFFs, Shannon. And what she's been doing for me is customer support, which is huge because with offers like 100 days of killer content and hashtag like a boss, when people are buying through ClickFunnels or through Member Vault and then they get transferred into MailerLite, it's kind of a pain in the butt because I don't know, I would say 1 out of 5 emails I get, maybe it's not that many, but sometimes it feels like it, like 1 out of 5 emails, something goes wrong and they don't get an email for whatever reason. So they email support at Ali Reeves, and Shannon handles that for me, which is a game changer because here's the thing, like all of these things, I mean, depending on what it is, takes obviously an amount of time, right? And before I hired Shannon, I was doing all that. I was doing all the client customer support. Another thing that she does is she handles like client gifts. So if one of my private clients has a birthday or is launching, or something big, I want to send some sort of gift, some sort of celebratory something to them. She handles that for me as well. I used to do all that because I used to tell myself, well, it just, it takes me maybe 5 minutes to handle this customer service issue, or it takes me maybe 10 minutes to send flowers to whomever. But these things add up, and it takes away from the things that you should be doing in your zone of genius, and all of it adds up, right? And I know in the past, I would just kind of tell myself, oh, it's just 5 minutes, but 5 minutes, 3-4 times a day, and it usually takes more than 5 minutes, times 5 days a week, times 4 weeks out of the month, and so on. That's a lot of time just for that one issue. So bringing her on to help me with just those 2 areas has been amazing. The next area that I invested in my business is for my funnels and, tech type things like ClickFunnels, and I'm trying to think what else. We have to use Zapier for a few different funnels that we use, both of which I have absolutely no business messing with. So Caitlin, who also does my podcast, she handles the funnels and the tech things for me, which is a game changer because absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, I would never be able to launch anything. I would just be doing everything on my, the old fashioned way. And let's just say it would not be as good of an experience for you, and certainly not for me either. So I'm so thankful that Kate is helping me with that. She's been doing those things for me since, I believe, January, February. We've had her on doing those, which has been amazing. I keep saying most recently, but another recent investment and area of my business that I've outsourced have been my graphics, specifically for launches, and I've outsourced those to Philip. So if you can't tell already, Kate and Philip can do all things. They're jacks of all trades. And every time I need help in my business, they're like, we can do it. So they're just like, I mean, I would not be functioning without them. I'm so thankful for them. So Philip does my launch graphics. So anytime that I launch a new program like A3, Reinvention, are my two latest, the Game Changer Mastermind, whenever I reopen that, Philip made like the launch graphics, the story graphics, the Facebook headers, things like that. And then he also designed like the graphics and things for my YouTube channel because he's super talented like that. Also launch videos. So whenever I launched A3, we had some fun with the launch video. It was super dramatic and over the top, which I loved it. And a lot of you liked it a lot too. And he did that for me. So that's amazing. I actually like creating graphics. Like I really like creating my own for Instagram. I just make those in Canva. Like something about that just makes me happy. So I don't mind to do those. But when I'm launching something and I know that I need the same graphic for multiple places, it's nice to be able to hand that off. So I've started to do that. I think we started doing that July or August, and it's been awesome. So let's see. I think that is the end of the business. Wow. Okay. We went through those really fast. And then I just put on here desired outsources. So areas that I desire to outsource ASAP, because now I'm like addicted to handing things off to people and helping other people's businesses and saving myself time. I am looking to hire an OBM, an online business manager. I'm pretty sure that'll be their title, just somebody to handle all back end things in my business. So I have like the funnels and all of that handled in customer service, but essentially helping me manage my own schedule, helping me manage my own email. I mean, my email is just, it gets so out of control. I need support there. I need somebody to help me schedule one-on-one clients and podcast things and my own meetings, just somebody just to have my back there. So I'm not fooling with it, in addition to a few other things. So that is something that I'm in the process of hiring for right now. If that is something that you would like to take on, this is not something that I want to be like a little side project for you. I'm talking like I'm looking for somebody who this is their jam and they want to make it a full-time gig, not looking for any part-time nonsense because you need to make a few bucks. I talked about this on my Instagram the other day and I was like, keep your eyes out because I'm going to have information about it soon. And somebody was like, I really need some extra money, so send me the information. And I was like, no, like, I'm looking for somebody who like this is, you love to do this. You are down, you like what I do in my business and, my mission of helping women grow their businesses. So anyway, you can reach out to me. I'll also have a proper hire thing out there. Y'all, it's been a long week. My brain is fried at this point. So hopefully you get what I'm trying to say. I'll put something out proper with details about the job description. That's what I'm trying to come up with. Anyway, the moral of the story is some of these things I'm sure some of you hear and you're like, wow, right? Like maybe the spray tans or the stylist or having the house cleaned twice a week. And that's totally fine. I think if I had heard this list just a year ago, I would have been like, wow, okay, stylist, cool, big time. But yeah, it's just it's kind of addicting, right? And some of you might be listening to this and thinking like, wow, that's all she outsources? Like, what an amateur. But it's a little addicting when you start to see like, okay, I can take this amount of money, I can support somebody else's business, somebody else's family, help them, let them handle this task for me because it's what they actually want to do and it's what they're an expert in. Meanwhile, that frees up that amount of time, which in some cases are hours and hours, like cleaning the house, hours, days, once you add it all up, of my time, so I can do whatever the heck I want to do. It's amazing. So I hope perhaps this was helpful for you if you've been on the fence about investing in some of these areas and outsourcing in some of these things yourself. Maybe this will, I don't know, give you the permission that you don't need from me or anybody else to give it a shot. I mean, you can always try it out and after a little bit decide, hey, you know what? Actually, I'd rather do it myself. And that's cool too. But anyway, just wanted to paint the picture for you. I hope you enjoyed this. If so, let me know. Tag me in your stories. Drop me a review. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. I love you. Goodbye.